Welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we are unpacking something that literally blurs the line between science fiction and documented scientific reality. We're opening up the Pentagon's UFO files to examine a phenomenon that top military experts and scientists are actively trying to decode as we speak. Right off the bat, I want you to picture this. Imagine you're sitting inside the cockpit of one of the world's absolute most advanced fighter jets. You're highly trained, you know your equipment inside and out, and then suddenly your radar locks on to an object. But this thing has no wings, no visible engines, and absolutely no exhaust. Then it suddenly accelerates, changes direction instantly, and just vanishes. Well, years later, the United States government actually confirmed that this exact encounter happened, but they still cannot fully explain it. This is the very real story of America's modern aerial mystery. Okay, let's dive into this. We really need to start with a crucial definition to anchor our understanding here, and that is UAP. It stands for Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena. This is the modern official term used by the U.S. government today to classify unexplained aerial sightings. By using this specific term, institutions are intentionally replacing the older, honestly pretty heavily stigmatized term UFO. We are pivoting totally away from Hollywood sci-fi movies and moving straight into serious, military-grade data collection. Section 1, the Tic Tac encounter. So let's break down one of the most famous and credible military encounters in modern history. In November 2004, the USS Nimitz carrier strike group was out conducting exercises off the coast of California. Let's walk through the exact timeline. First, radar operators repeatedly detect these unusual objects literally dropping from extreme altitudes right down to sea level in mere seconds. Second, Commander David Fravor and other highly trained pilots are sent out to investigate. Third, they arrive and they describe seeing this smooth, white object shaped exactly like a giant Tic Tac. And the pilots report that it actually reacted intelligently to their movements. Finally, the object accelerates away at an absolutely unprecedented speed. You know, this isn't just some campfire story. Multiple trained operators, pilots, and crew members all corroborated the impossible physics they witnessed that day. Section 2. Leaked videos spark debate. Now, the story didn't just end over the Pacific Ocean. The narrative shifted dramatically years later, when military videos, nicknamed Gimbal and GoFast, were leaked to the public. And let's be clear, these weren't blurry, shaky smartphone camera shots. This was actual military infrared targeting footage captured during advanced training missions. These leaks completely dragged these mysterious objects out of classified briefing rooms and thrust them right into the public eye, which obviously sparked a massive debate among experts all over the globe. And this brilliantly illustrates how the expert community essentially split into two primary camps. On one hand, you have experts who argue these videos demonstrate totally unknown technology. They point to extraordinary flight capabilities and propulsion systems that seemingly defy all of our current engineering. But on the flip side, skeptics suggest we might just be looking at sensor limitations. You know, things like optical effects, weird artifacts in the camera systems themselves, or even just ordinary objects being viewed under highly unusual atmospheric conditions. It really highlights just how incredibly difficult it is to interpret advanced military data when you don't have the complete context of the encounter. Section 3. The government responds. So, how did Washington react when all this undeniable evidence hit the mainstream media? Well, the Pentagon essentially transformed the whole thing from a fringe internet conspiracy into a serious, official government inquiry. First, they actually went ahead and officially acknowledged their past efforts to collect and analyze military sightings. Second, they established brand new, dedicated offices specifically tasked with investigating UAP reports. And third, lawmakers began holding actual public military hearings. We had witnesses describing these encounters under oath, arguing that they deserved rigorous scientific investigation instead of just being swept under the rug. But amidst all this wild public attention, officials offered a highly specific, very grounding quote: "Unexplained does not automatically mean extraterrestrial." I really want to emphasize that because it's absolutely crucial to keep in mind throughout this explainer. An event might remain unexplained simply because our available data is incomplete. We always have to ground our curiosity in scientific balance, remembering that a lack of an answer isn't an answer in itself. Section 4. Science, Skepticism, and Safety. So, looking at this rationally, scientists have actually proposed plenty of highly likely mundane explanations for a large portion of these sightings. These reports can often involve weather balloons, commercial or military drones, classified aircraft tests, rare atmospheric effects, sensor artifacts, or just simply misidentified conventional objects. It's super vital to maintain strict impartiality here. A lot of UAPs turn out to have totally normal, earthly origins once they're fully and properly investigated. So, the crucial point is that unidentified objects present genuine flight safety concerns, totally regardless of their origin. Whether it's a rogue drone, a wayward weather balloon, or something else entirely, aviation experts take this incredibly seriously purely as an airborne hazard. Think about it. If something is flying around in military or commercial airspace and we have no idea what it is or how it's moving, that is a huge safety risk. If we map out the core of the modern UAP debate, it really comes down to balancing two distinct viewpoints. Supporters of the extraordinary explanations, well, they point to the fact that we have multiple sensor detections, highly trained military observers like our fighter pilots, and recurring reports that literally span decades. But the skeptics respond with a very grounded scientific approach. They argue that eyewitness testimony, even from the best pilots in the world, just isn't enough to objectively prove alien technology. They require repeatable evidence, independent verification, and they strongly warn against relying solely on human perception. This push and pull between curiosity and skepticism is exactly where the scientific community stands today. Section 5. An incomplete understanding.
Let's zoom out for a second and look at the broader global picture, because it's not just the United States dealing with this. Governments worldwide have released historical files related to unidentified aerial sightings. And while it's absolutely true that the vast majority of these cases were eventually explained, a small percentage remain entirely unresolved. Why? Well, mostly because the evidence was simply insufficient to make a definitive conclusion. So despite our modern satellites, our advanced radar, and incredible infrared imagery, researchers are still digging through these unresolved files looking for definitive answers.
Which brings us to the ultimate enduring questions, doesn't it? Are these undiscovered natural phenomena? Could they be highly advanced human technology from a foreign adversary? Just errors in perception or instrumentation? Or is it something humanity has yet to understand? I want to be perfectly clear here. At present, based on all the official sources we're reviewing, there is no publicly available evidence proving extraterrestrial visitors. Yet, there are documented, highly credible incidents that remain totally unexplained, even after rigorous official review. As technology improves, future investigations are definitely going to solve many of these famous cases. But until then, the Pentagon's UFO files serve as a really humbling reminder that even in our era of powerful computers and advanced aircraft, our understanding of the skies is still incomplete. The mystery endures, not because every answer points to aliens, but because some questions just have not yet found convincing answers. If it isn't the weather and it isn't our technology, then what exactly is flying in our skies? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Stay curious.